been confirmed that Mason Greenwood is to leave Manchester United. In a statement released by the club, Manchester United said all those involved, including Mason, recognise the difficulties with him recommencing his career at Manchester United. It's therefore been mutually agreed that it would be most appropriate for him to do so away from Old Trafford, and we will now work with Mason to achieve that outcome. Mason Greenwood has been subject to an internal investigation, which the club says has now concluded. Forward Greenwood, who's 21, had criminal charges against him, including attempted rape and assault, dropped earlier this year. In a statement made alongside the clubs, Mr. Greenwood said he was brought up to know that violence or abuse in any relationship is wrong. I did not do the things I was accused of, he said, and in February I was cleared of all charges. However, I accept I made mistakes in my relationship and I take share of responsibility for the situations which led to the social media post. I am learning, he went on to say, to understand my responsibilities to set a good example as a professional footballer. And I'm focused on the big responsibility of being a father as well as a good partner. Well, today's decision has been part of a collaborative process between Manchester United, he went on to say, my family and me. The best decision for us all is for me to continue my football career away from Old Trafford, where my presence will not be a distraction for the club. I thank the club for their support, he said. Since I joined age 7, there will always be a part of me which is United. Well, let's get more on that breaking news right away from the BBC Sports Centre. Ollie Foster is there for us. So, Ollie, this is the conclusion of an investigation that was supposed to come back last week, I think. It's finally said that Mason Greenwood's now going to leave the club.
And it was just a week or so ago, Regina, that everything seemed to be pointing towards Mason Greenwood being reintegrated into the club. But around the start of the Premier League season, there were protests at Old Trafford from women's Manchester United's groups against domestic violence, against that. So any announcement was paused. And now in just the last few minutes, we've had this lengthy statement from Manchester United and Mason Greenwood as well, that by mutual agreement he will leave the club, a club which he's been associated with since the age of 7, his whole football life really, now at the age of 21. You go back 19 months to when he was arrested by Greater Manchester Police for attempted rape, controlling and coercive behaviour, and also assault. A year later, it was only February this year that those charges were dropped. Those charges, something that he had always denied as well. Mason Greenwood, the CPS, the Criminal Prosecution Service, feeling that there was no way that they could actually proceed with any charges against Mason Greenwood after key witnesses pulled out of the process. And then it was the time that Manchester United took on their own internal investigation. They'd left the police to carry on with theirs, but once those charges were dropped, Manchester United had a decision to make. And it's just worth picking up on something that the Chief Executive, Richard Arnold, said in that lengthy statement that we've just had a few minutes ago. He says that while I'm satisfied that Mason did not commit the acts he was charged with, Mason's accepted that he's made mistakes which he takes responsibility for. I'm also mindful of the challenge that Mason would face rebuilding his career and raising a baby together with his partner in the harsh spotlight of Manchester United. He still has another 2 years left on his contract. Mason Greenwood, a real rising star of the game. Just a couple of years ago, he'd come through the England age groups. He'd won his first cap for England. Gareth Southgate, the England head coach, said that he was a really exciting prospect for the future. But clearly this is something that has meant that he hasn't been able to play football for the last 19 months. And Manchester United and Mason Greenwood now coming to an agreement that it would be better off for all parties should he continues his football career elsewhere.
And Ollie, this will be a controversial decision in many ways in terms of the decision from the club, but it comes as a number of fans, female fans, had been protesting outside Old Trafford as the club's report was being concluded, including a group of female United supporters who said they want the club to demonstrate a zero-tolerance approach towards violence against women. What's likely to be the reaction from that group of fans to today's news?
I'm sure they will be relieved that Mason Greenwood has left the club. A very difficult situation, really, for those at the club who had to make this decision with those charges being dropped. They had to make their own decision, what was best for the club, and then you go into the terms of his contract, things that will remain confidential, I'm sure, whether he has broken any code of conduct for behaviour of players within the club. But certainly Manchester United feeling that for the good of all parties, that he will now continue his football career away from Manchester United. He's only 21. He's got another good 12, 15 years ahead of him, should he find a club and remain injury-free. And like I say, an incredibly talented footballer, but one who hasn't been playing the game for the last 18 months.
Do you think this is the end of his professional career, or just a pause now that this statement has come out?
I'm sure it is just a pause, and in the same way that Manchester United have wrestled with this, so will other clubs who will contemplate signing Mason Greenwood. He would be a very positive playing addition to any squad. Perhaps a move abroad might be preferable rather than one within the Premier League or within the English League. And when you talk about whether he has a future, looking to the future, Manchester United have said that this isn't the end of the story, because they will continue to provide a duty of care to Mason Greenwood's alleged victim, and also to Greenwood himself, to help him get his career back on track.
OK, Ollie Foster in our Sports Centre. Thanks for bringing us more information on that breaking story.